Okay, students, this is your spreadsheet, and your spreadsheet has three tabs down the bottom: health spending, life expectancy, GDP per capita. So this is how much money per person is spent on healthcare in that country. This is how long people live, life expectancy, so the average lifespan of people in that country in years. And this is GDP per capita, which is basically the average income of people in that country. So how much money on average, if you divide all money in the country by the population, this is the average income. Now, obviously, there's going to be differences between individuals, but this just gives you a sense of the wealth in the country, how rich the country is. Now, the countries on the list are all the same, and they are our most and least livable countries based on the cities that are the most and least livable that we've been working on in class. So there's less countries than there are cities because a lot of the most livable cities were in four countries: Switzerland, Australia, New Zealand, and Japan. All 10 of the top livable cities were in those four countries in 2021. So I'm going to show you how to make Choropleth maps out of this data to show differences between the countries in these three indicators. So we'll do it one by one. I'll just show you one, and then you can do the same process for each of your three maps. So the data we want is both of these columns. So the easiest way to select the data is to click and hold and drag across the two columns you want, and then choose this chart button, or you can go insert chart from this menu. It's the same thing either way. Now what comes up is not the map you want. So the first thing you need to do is change some of the settings here. The chart type in the setup menu needs to be map, this one here. And that's starting to look more like a Choropleth map that we want. Now we want to change it a little bit just to try and get this scale as useful as possible for this color code. So we can change the background color if you like. If you want to make it look like the oceans are blue, you can do that. The border color is just the outside border of your map. And make it more visible or whatever. Try and make it so it's readable rather than lots of really loud colors, because that's actually makes it hard to understand maps sometimes. So you can change the region, but so you could just look at Oceania where Australia is, for example, but we want to look at the whole world in this case. And we want the scale. Usually it's a good idea to show the scale in the same sort of range of colors. It doesn't always have to be that way, but this is, I think I'm going to suggest that you do it this way. So at the moment our maximum, so the highest values will be dark green, and the minimum will go to red. I'm going to change it so it's just different shades of green. You've got max, minimum, and the midway point. So let's just go a sort of halfway kind of green for middle, and then minimum, let's get a really pale green. Or you could do it, I don't really mind what color you do it. You could do it in blues if you want. Do it a dark blue, and then a middle blue, and then a light blue. But it does make more sense, and it's more readable if you look at variations, although my blue background is probably not a good idea in this case because it's then harder to see. Make that grey, then the blue stands out more. A map is a form of communication, so it's important to get the colours right. It's not a piece of art, it's a piece of communication. Okay, now we can see our countries. And so the dark blue countries, and if we click on our map and you hover on it, you can actually see the data come up. And we can see Australia, Japan, Switzerland's this little tiny one down here. It might be a bit difficult to get your mouse on. And then the lower levels are these lighter green ones. So that is the same process, and you do the same thing exactly for life expectancy and GDP per capita. I would recommend you use different color scheme for each one so that they are easier to differentiate, but I would recommend that you keep the same sort of idea of the one type of color, like blue or green or whatever, but different shades of it for the same measurement. And that is how you do it.